Welcome to part 2, where we're discussing the current landscape of the men's 100-meter dash as we lead into the 2024 Olympic Games going down in Paris, France later on this summer. In part 1, we spoke about Noah Lyles and Christian Coleman, both coming off the 60-meter dash at the World Indoor Championships. Now, next, we're going to be talking about Fred Kerley and Marcell Jacobs, both former 100-meter champions, one at the Worlds, one at the Olympics, and their potential to get back on top of the podium and reclaim that former glory that they both once had. Let's dive into it. So I've already discussed Marcell Jacobs a lot more in depth in a previous video, which you could check out right here. So I won't go into too much detail about his actual career, but what I thought was important is to highlight the similarities that both Marcell Jacobs and Fred Kerley have when talking about their 100-meter careers, specifically as we enter the 2024 season. First, their medals. Both of them are former champions, Marcell Jacobs winning the Olympic gold in 2021 in Tokyo, while Fred Kerley won the World Championship gold in Eugene 2022. They also have switched over from events prior to winning their gold medals, Marcell switching from the long jump, as well as Fred Kerley switching from the 400. Also, recently we saw both of them switch coaches. Marcell Jacobs moved from his longtime coach in Italy over to Florida to be coached by Raina Ryder. Fred Kerley moved from his longtime coach Alain Francique, moved over to California to be coached by Quincy Watts. Also, since they've both won gold medals in 2021 and 2022 respectively, they have dealt with setbacks that have kept them off the podium at the subsequent World Championships. Finally, just last year in 2023, both of them failed to even make the final at the Budapest World Championships in the 100-meter dash. So despite their highly publicized back and forth online early in 2023, despite them racing only a few times through their career and kind of the discussion about their potential head-to-heads and who would win and this, that, whatever, we can honestly see a lot of similarities between both Marcell Jacobs as well as Fred Kerley. But let's dive a little bit deeper to understand where we're going as we look forward in 2024. First off with Marcell Jacobs. So he is the reigning Olympic champion in the 100-meter dash, having won at the Tokyo Olympic Games back in 2021. And in that race, he ran a time of 9.80 seconds, which still stands as his personal best and of course is one of the fastest times in history.
What is your clearest memory of your Tokyo Olympic gold medal?
The moment, the 10 seconds before my competition, because I put my legs in the block, I see all my opponent and I say, okay, I can win, and I win the competition.
Like I noted, this came after he switched from the long jump a few years prior to 2021, moving into the 100-meter dash, again, eventually leading to him winning that gold medal in the 100. Also, in the 60-meter dash, he won the gold medal at the 2022 World Indoor Championships and ran a time of 6.41 seconds. That makes him the 4th fastest person ever over the 60-meter dash indoors and gives him, of course, the European record as well. Finally, his last major accolade was winning the European outdoor title in the 100-meter dash in 2022. But since then, he's unfortunately been dealing with some setbacks that have kept him off the podium. At the 2022 World Championships, Marcell Jacobs only competed in the 100-meter heats and was unable to proceed through the rounds as he was dealing with some setbacks and some injuries. Again, he did go on to the European Championships and won the 100-meter dash, but he was still dealing with some injuries. Then in 2023, just last year, he also was unable to make it into the final, only got through to the semifinals, again, dealing with some setbacks, dealing with some injuries, and he barely even competed all throughout 2023. He did end his season with a few races post-World Championships, but he never even broke 10 seconds throughout the entire season.
Yes, of course, I'm not really happy for this, not final, for 4 cents, but you know, I'm happy to be here after this complicated season. You know, I'm training every day, hour to training, to take out the time from my family, stay out, training camp, a lot of physiotherapy, a lot of training for competition, of course. I am the first to want competition, to want to stay healthy, to want to find my opponent and race every week. If it was for me, every week I want to compete with them. But you know, the life is almost of the time is not so good, and I try to take this one and do better the next time.
And just to highlight those injury issues, like I said, he never broke 10 seconds all throughout 2023. But even more importantly, since he won the Olympic gold in his personal best of 9.80 seconds, he's only broken 10 seconds on 2 occasions, twice in 2022, one early season and then one at the European Championships where he won the gold medal. So really highlighting that he's been dealing with a lot, and it's going to take a lot for him to get back on top of the podium. But let's talk about some of those changes that have occurred. Like I noted, he changed coaches from his longtime coach in Italy and and then moved down to Florida to be coached by Raina Ryder. Raina Ryder is, of course, one of the greatest coaches when we're talking about sprinting in the United States, and he currently coaches athletes like Trayvon Bromell, Andre DeGrasse, Hakeem Sani-Brown, among a plethora of others as well. So Marcell Jacobs moving into a new training group where he's going to have that motivation, he's going to have that drive, he's going to have that push by some of the other greatest athletes, when talking about the 100-meter dash, that is definitely going to put him on the right track towards potentially becoming 100-meter gold medalist again at the Olympics. So one of the big takeaways is that Marcell Jacobs is getting a little bit far removed from that Olympic gold medal in Tokyo back in 2021. Yes, it's only 3 years ago, but we've seen so much changeover, we've seen so many setbacks and so many things that have prevented him from getting on top of the podium. I think Marcell Jacobs truly does realize this, which has led to his coaching change, which has led to a newfound motivation, a newfound drive that's really going to help him get back on top once again. Additionally, Jacobs is of course going to be dealing with the media. The media is going to be quick to criticize him for, not doing anything since his Olympic gold medal. Some people are going to say he won a fake gold medal, he wasn't the rightful champion, it was just a fluke, etc., etc. Some people might be justified in certain reactions. In my opinion, I think Marcell Jacobs is of course the rightful 100-meter champion. It wasn't a fluke, he definitely proved himself, but I think we all want to see if he's able to replicate that once again in 2024. And honestly, after speaking with Jacobs, he does not care about the media. He is going to do what he needs to do to be the best that he can be. People have been talking online saying that,
No, I don't care about the people who talking online, because the much people who talking is sit on the sofa and watch and never try to do athletics.
So Marcell Jacobs can very likely get back on top of the podium at the Olympic Games in Paris this summer, but considering the landscape of the 100-meter dash right now, it's not going to be an easy task. But with that, let's move over to Fred Kerley. All right, so what about Fred Kerley? Well, Fred Kerley is a 100-meter world champion from back in 2022, and that same year, he ran a personal best of 9.76 seconds, which makes him, of course, one of the fastest all-time in the 100-meter dash. But he also backs that up with times of 9.77 as well as 9.79. So he has proven to be very consistent when talking about the 100-meter dash. In addition to his 100-meter gold from 2022, he also has 100-meter silver from the Tokyo Olympics in 2021. And that came off of him switching events from the 400 over to the 100, again, just before he actually made the team to the Olympics in 2021. And in the 400, you can argue he has an immaculate career. He's a World Championship bronze medalist from 2019. He's an NCAA champion, a two-time USA champion, has a personal best of 43.64 seconds from 2019, which makes him the 8th fastest all-time over the 400 meters.
Do you really think that those are crazy things? I mean, you're making them happen, right?
It's crazy things to people around me. It's not crazy things to me. So just like you got to think of crazy things to do, and then let the fans or the audience or the social media predict, oh, that's not going to work. But at the end of the day, if you believe in yourself, I got to this point and I believe in myself and I'm a world champion.
So looking at what he did last year, again, coming off his World Championship title in 2022, there's been some kind of ups and downs for the most part. Entering 2023, he was arguably the 100-meter favorite, and he really proved that at the early part of the season. He won a plethora of different races in Japan and Yokohama, as well as Morocco, as well as in Italy. And those last two in Morocco and Italy, those were Diamond League races. So he was taking down very high-quality fields when we're talking about the 100 meters. Additionally, all throughout last year, he ran sub 10 seconds in every single one of his races except one single race, which was the semifinals at the Budapest World Championships. So he was very consistent. He had a season's best of 9.88 seconds. So he was no slouch through 2023. But similar to Marcell Jacobs, Fred Kerley was unfortunately unable to make the 100-meter final at the Budapest World Championships last year. And Kerley specifically actually just got edged out by 1/100th of a second to miss making that final. Additionally, the second half of his 2023 season didn't go as we might have expected. He didn't win any of his races, and he never improved upon his season's best of 9.88 seconds, which he ran in literally his first 100-meter race of the entire season. So what's different now for Fred Kerley as we look towards the 2024 season? Well, of course, the first big difference is that switch in coaches. Fred Kerley moved from Allian Francisque, who he'd been working with for many, many years, dating all the way back to his time at Texas A&M, and he now moved to California to be trained under Quincy Watts, who also coaches Ry Benjamin as well as Michael Norman. And Quincy Watts is a legendary coach, currently the head coach at USC.
What do you like about Coach Watts' approach?
Something new for me to understand track and field more better, and a better understanding for the 100 meters and understanding better for myself.
What's the dynamics in the group? Like you said, Mike, you, Rye, like what are the dynamics kind of day to day, whether it's in training or even outside of training?
Training and change actually been good. Training with some of the best to be the best possible in 2024. We just bounce off each other, and the whole goal is to be at the top of the podium at the Olympic Games.
Additionally, one of the big takeaways for me is that he opened up his 2024 season running the 60-meter dash, and he ran a personal best of 6.55 seconds. Now, it was a personal best, but it was the first time that Fred Kerley had ever run the 60 meters in his entire career. And on the surface, I think many people looked at that 6.55 as not a great performance for Fred Kerley, but in my opinion, I actually think that was a really good performance and has some really positive indicators as we look towards the rest of the season. Just for comparison, remember last year, Noah Lyles had run 6.51 seconds, and we were talking about him potentially now going crazy in the 100. That led to him, of course, winning the 100-meter dash at the World Championships. I think for this being Fred Kerley's first 60-meter dash race, running 6.55 against a very high-quality field, against Akeem Blake as well as Noah Lyles, I think this really has a positive indicator of what might be possible. And remember, he's already run 9.76 seconds. So if he did a slight improvement in terms of his 60 meters, the first half of his race, I think this is very much going to bode well for what is possible. Also, even more importantly, is that shows that Fred Kerley was healthy. Now, there were some conversations, nothing confirmed, but we thought that Fred Kerley might have been a little bit injured in the second half of the 2023 season. Again, considering he didn't perform up to expectations, especially relative to what he did in 2022.
Is there anything that's been going on this year that outside of track?
Nah, I was to keep my personal life personal, and
Okay.
track's still track, and it's sports, so it's part of the game.
Yeah.
So can't complain.
But I think this time of 6.57 in the prelims and 6.55 in the heats of the 60, this proves that Fred Kerley is healthy, he's confident, and he is ready to be the best that he can be. So what's the big takeaway here? Well, Fred Kerley, he's been feeling good. He feels comfortable under Quincy Watts with the rest of his training group with Michael Norman and Rye Benjamin, and he's feeling confident about what might be possible looking forward in 2024. Again, he's coming off the 2022 World Championships where he won the gold medal, and then some setbacks all throughout 2023. So similar to Marcell Jacobs, getting a little bit far removed, just about almost a year and a half at this point from his gold medal, but he already has proven himself to be one of the best in history. 9.76 personal best, gold medal at the 100-meter dash at the World Championships, silver medal at the Olympic Games in 2021. Fred Kerley has proven that he can be one of the best in history, and he is potentially setting himself to be on pace to get back on top of the podium in Paris this summer. So two former champions in Fred Kerley and Marcell Jacobs, both dealing with some setbacks over the past couple years, both dealing with some recent coaching changes in the last couple months, but both with their eyes set on winning Olympic gold in Paris later on this summer. Will they be able to get back on top? Well, there's a lot of guys that are going to make it very competitive when talking about the men's 100-meter dash, but again, they have both shown that they are more than capable of being the best in the world. Now, will they be able to get back on top? That's to be determined over the next couple months. Next up, we're going to take a trip down to Jamaica to discuss the landscape of the men's 100-meter dash there. There's a lot of guys who are definitely in the conversation, but since 2017 when Usain Bolt retired, the Jamaican men have never been on the podium, whether it's Olympics or the World Championships when talking about the 100-meter dash. Let's see if they're able to get back to the kind of their former glory and finally get a medal. Thanks for watching, y'all.